Hello YouTube and Lisbeth. I'm sorry I did not post last week. I actually recorded something to post and then I just really did not like the footage and I didn't have time to record something else. So first of all, catch up of what has been going on. I finished up my last week at summer camp this week and it was a good week, I think. I think summer camp overall went pretty well. I would have liked to work more weeks, but at the same time I think if I'd worked more weeks I would have been more exhausted, so it was kind of crazy. I'm starting a different job on next Friday that I'll be at for a little bit. And then I'm gonna be moving to another country for a year. So I really like Liz's video about study tips, so I figured I would include some of my study tips. My first tip is to plan ahead. This is a couple different things. I routinely, when I was studying for something or trying to figure out how much time I had to do homework and all of my things, I compulsively would write schedules. And I would do this in class sometimes if I knew what was going on in class, or we were going over examples and I was caught up with it, or I just needed to keep myself focused in class. I would write down on a piece of paper my week, the things, and then go through day by day, and then things that I had to have done, and then I'd have my chunks of time where I had space, and I would figure out, like, on another side, what things I needed to do, so like what my homework assignments were so far and how much time they would take. Depending on your class, it might be really helpful to study with another person. I know for me, for physics, a lot of times studying with another person was the only way to do it, because if you were doing it on your own, you'd get stuck and you wouldn't understand. And it turns out a lot of the time in those kind of classes that one person gets one part and one person gets another part, and studying together helps. It also helps if you get it really well and you think you get it really well. If you help another person study, explaining how to do something to another person helps you solidify it, and it helps them out too. So that's kind of like good karma. Use colors. This is my second point. I feel like probably most people know this. I'm not positive that most people know this, and I'm not sure that it works for everyone, but for me, definitely putting words that were keywords in a different color in definitions, so I'd like do word and definition, that was really helpful for me. Just in general, it also helped me a lot to focus more, because it kept my eye interested. It's really hard for me to just look at a black page, but if the page is highlighted or has notes in different colors, that really helps me out. So this is something that I learned actually from a math teacher in, might have been even in elementary school. First and last. It turns out the things that you learn best are the things that you learn first and last. Those are like what you remember the most. So to a degree, if you split up your studying with food or with a TV show or with a small activity with a friend, not something that's super long, but like 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes, that will help you to remember more things, because there are more firsts and lasts. So break up your studying. Again, that goes back to planning ahead. If you plan ahead and you can know what you need to do and you have more time. I always planned more time than I thought I needed for stuff, so that I would have those times to take 10-15 minute breaks, because like Liz said, sometimes you just need to pack it in and do a couple rows. Fourth tip is that apples and water are your best friends, unless you're allergic to apples or water. If you were allergic to water, I thought that'd be really sad. Anyway, this, I can't tell you, I never had to pull an all-nighter. The closest thing I got was like stuff that would keep me up till 4 in the morning, and in that time I never had to use energy drinks. I at one point bought a 5-hour energy shot and didn't use it. I never used Monster, I never used Red Bull, I never used any of that stuff. All I needed was apples and water. If the water you need to drink more than you think you need to drink. It keeps you hydrated, it keeps you awake. Apples similarly have some sort of a chemical in them that keeps you awake, and the munching, like the crunching for me, helped keep me awake in ways that other things wouldn't. This brings me to my last and final tip. Number 5. Don't underestimate the importance or power of sleep. So many times you want to stay up all night cramming for everything. You go back to planning ahead, and you do a little bit of studying over every day kind of thing. When it comes time to the night before the test, you can do your like last minute planning thing. I made it a point never to stay up past 2 if I had a test the next day. Most of my classes start at 10 or later, so you might need to move that back depending, but people would stay up till all hours, and honestly, like, if your brain is awake for the test, alert, it will make better decisions. This goes back to planning ahead, and it also goes to pay attention in class, because if you've paid attention in class, chances are you will have heard the things before and gone over problems or done any of those sort of things that you need to do, and you will know if you've been paying attention and taking notes. And you being tired during the test makes you make bad decisions, like you don't think as clearly, you're more emotional, you don't want to be there more, you're just not ready to take the test. So I hope that some of these tips come in handy for you. I know I will be using them during my year back in school, but I hope they help you out. And Liz, I look forward to seeing what you have coming up this next week, and yeah, bye.